Hi, it's us again, and this time we are down by the Titanic. Though we actually do have the Titanic with us, it's alive and well.
Yep.
Now he has to get it back into frame. Just going to get straight into this one because what episode?
Oh yeah. Very interesting episode.
This one was written by Vinay Patel, who wrote the Demons of the Punjab, which was... What did you think of that one?
I like that one. It was a nice powerful episode last year, which was talking about history even I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah, no, it was properly educational, and also it was co-written by Chris Chibnall as well.
Which is a bit mixed for me because Chibnall is a bit hit and miss for me as a showrunner.
Yeah, for me, I don't mind that. I mean, as I say, I don't have a problem with what he's been doing. So, but we start off in a very sort of it's almost a Russell T Davies era situation, where we've got someone in the middle of their routine, and we've got jaunty, happy music, and they're going to work. But right away, she's focused on time.
Yeah.
She's looking at her watch, and it's a thing. But honestly, we'll get to it when we get to it, but I didn't think anything of the nature of what was going on was coming up. So we meet Ruth, and it's her husband, Lee. And to me, he was Matthew number 2 from Game On. But Sunday morning. That was a 90s BBC 2 sitcom, for anyone who remembers. Yes. It was Ben Chaplin was the original Matthew, and he left after the first series and was replaced, and his name is Neill Stook. And he plays Lee in this, so I sort of thought that's a sort of a flashback there. But she seems to be preoccupied a little bit with time. But it's a nice little clue as to what is coming up. And when I watched it the second time to talk about this, then you pick up on all these little things that they throw in, because I had no clue watching it to start with. So it's sort of all happy, and it's her birthday and all that kind of thing. And then we focus on Lee, and he's got a face like thunder after she leaves. And it's like, oh, he's a bit dodgy. But then we find out she's a tour guide for Gloucester, of all places. I guess somebody's got to do it.
And she seemed very happy and brilliant and positive.
And when I was rewatching it, I thought, I wonder is she so positive about it and knowledgeable? She's trying to do a different tour. Is that because somewhere very deep the Doctor's memories of meeting these people, and he has a history, she has a history of meeting people that doesn't get written in the books and that kind of thing, so maybe that's why a little bit cocky about the information. I don't know. It just was interesting. First time watching it, didn't have a clue.
You pick up on things when you watch the second time.
But you do, yeah. Once you know certain things, and yeah. So then we go into the coffee shop, and we get the slightly misformed heart in a latte.
Yeah.
We get the character of Alan, who is obviously taken with Ruth and thinks she could do better. And he said he used to run a pub, but now he's running a coffee shop. So
it's a different camera, but he had a dossier made up of her partner.
When he produced the dossier, it reminded me a little bit of the character in the first series of The New Who.
Oh, Clive,
who had all this stuff on the Doctor, and so that's where I was going with it, thinking, is he an actual Time Lord or something? I wasn't sure. There was something iffy about him.
Yeah, but it's not. You don't produce a dossier on someone unless you're really
sad.
Yeah.
And he's just really highly suspicious. Let's put it that way. Alan, this is paranoid. Yeah. Yes. So then we're reintroduced to the Judoon. I was trying to think when the last time they were on there.
Smith and Joe. Oh, actually, it was towards the end of the David Tennant and I think it was Journey's End. Towards the end of Series 4 of the modern series.
Because they were also on the Sarah Jane Adventures. I remember them. That's the last time I remember seeing them.
But we haven't actually seen them since the Russell T Davies year.
Yeah, so I thought that was nice for them to show up in this.
It'll be 12 years since they actually first appeared with St. Jones.
And they're back, and they're voiced again by Nicholas Briggs. I thought that was, good continuity. It's the same as whenever they did the original Centauran. They tried to keep them sounding the same because they're really sort of meant to be the same, aren't they? Although later years they were the two doctors.
They were too tall.
There was a bit of a growth spurt.
They still look like Centaurans, but they were a little too tall for Centaurans.
Yeah.
They didn't have these. They're meant to be stocky clone bots, which is why the first two Centaurans you saw were just lone Centaurans, both played by the late Kevin Lindsay.
But yeah, so they're back, and so we get a little bit of them setting up, and they're about to go down to Earth.
I think were they trying to do the joke of Judoon on the moon? Were they doing that joke again?
Yes, that's true. Yes, a platoon of Judoon near the moon, because we're back in the TARDIS, you see. And the Doctor admits then that she's been trying to find the Master because they're all sitting there, and they're trying to get at the fact that she misses time, doesn't realise that they've been there for that long. They said they've been there like 20 minutes or something. Because Yaz is sort of asking, and the Doctor gets a bit ratty, doesn't she? She gets a bit sort of, you ask too many questions. And so, yeah, we're talking about, we were talking about Torchwood in episode 3. We were mentioning how they were written out, and I said how much of a fan I was of, I like John Barrowman in other things that he's been in, but as Captain Jack, I really enjoy the character, and I've watched Torchwood.
I always liked Captain Jack. I was never a fan of it. I just didn't like Torchwood as a show.
Yeah. And so we get this point then, obviously the Judoon have sort of set up a perimeter around the area where the Fugitive is supposed to be, and obviously it affects things in the coffee shop, and they're calling them space rhinos and that kind of thing, and a bit of comedy there with Alan and all that kind of thing, and obviously he's got his dossier then is revealed and that sort of thing. But what I was going to say, Graham is taken out in some kind of time scoop or some sort of energy scoop, whatever it's called. What do they refer to it as?
A scoop. Yeah, I think he was referred to as a scoop.
Yeah, I was thinking of the 5 Doctors. I must admit when I saw it.
Great balls of fire.
So he gets taken on. He doesn't really know. Graham's just gone.
Well, no one actually notices.
Nobody notices. So Lee, he's really shifty. He comes in to get his birthday cake, and there's a message on it. You can do better, and all this kind of thing, and sort of comedy between the two characters. And the Doctor uses psychic paper on the Judoon, and then that's when they realise, where's Graham? It's like, he's always a couple of steps behind. And then we see Graham we don't know where he is, but then as soon as I heard the voice, I knew rightly that's who it was.
It's like, I was watching that bit there going, I was saying to myself, that sounds a lot like John Barrow. I was going, you don't think.
And it was him when he appeared. It's like, did you miss me, sort of thing. But it's the fact that he went straight to Graham and he snogged him. I was thinking he was the Doctor. Yeah. And so we have all this. Then we go back to the Doctor. They realise he's missing, and then when we go back to him, we see he tells Jack, of course, that the Doctor is a woman now, because it's happened a couple of times this series where they assume that Graham is the Doctor.
Because we're so used. I think it's because we're so used to the Doctor as a male character, because he's had 13 faces if we include the War Doctor.
Yeah.
As a male.
Yeah. But I just thought that was hilarious. Typical Jack, of course. But
Jack, being the typical metrosexual man he is, he's clearly excited when he hears that the Doctor is now one.
Yes, he was like, I've got to see this, But he's trying his best to locate the Doctor, and he ends up bringing Ryan and Yaz, and he made that joke about, he says, I've dreamt of having 3 sort of TARDIS companions. He seemed to be reveling in that.
Yeah, he would like the 80s then.
Yeah, he would have. Although, what about Chameleon? Is he counted? I don't know. He was in one episode, isn't that it?
2 episodes.
2 episodes, yeah. But anyway, the less said about him / her, the better.
There was an audio drama I listened to. I haven't listened to every single audio drama, but there's always the odd audio drama, and I did listen to one where a chameleon, they delved in the chameleon's past.
Oh, right.
It's voiced by John Culshaw. It's actually pretty good.
Very good. I must look that out, actually.
I'll get a copy for you.
Oh, yeah, that'd be brilliant. And so then we meet this character, Gak, which... In reading comic strips when I was a kid, it always used to be something people would say when they were, didn't like something. It's like, Gak, Gak,
You can say Klingon.
Oh, but it could be Klingon, yeah, actually. The way I pronounced it was, yeah.
Attack.
But she comes down, and basically, we have this scene where there's some object in the house, and the doctor's trying to figure out what on earth is going on, and they do this arbitration thing where they go in and have a chat, and she's like, "Come on, tell me the truth, otherwise we're all going to die," sort of thing. And he's very suspicious, and he's the red herring, because it's kind of like, oh right, what's this all about?
Because obviously the dossier, the fact that they're making a big deal about him. He's acting a bit shifty in a couple of scenes. So clearly they're setting him up to be as the guy they're obviously looking for. But obviously it was all turnaround.
And there was a medal that was in the box, and he gets found out, and then ultimately executed. But whenever he does get killed, she uses the line "faithful companion." And watching it back, that's another clue.
I'm thinking but maybe he was a companion. Like if you think back to Human Nature.
Yes.
I'll talk about that later.
Yes. And so then, obviously, he sends a text message, and he says he was keeping a promise. Mm-hmm. And then Gak herself is saying, "Do I have to spell it out?" I didn't get that when I first watched it. I was like, am I being stupid here? What's going on? On the second watch, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like, and the doctor then, when they're in the cathedral, is like, who are you? I was like, who are you?
Yeah.
I was like spelling it out again,
I suppose it's one of those things you don't pick up when you first watch it,
no.
But when you watch it again, you'll go, of course,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah. And so then she's acting a bit funny. Ruth is acting funny, and she. They go into the cathedral, and they get attacked basically by the Judoon, and she starts, for no reason, just knowing what to do instinctively. And the doctor says she went all Jackie Chan, and Ruth doesn't really know. At this point, I did start thinking to myself, something familiar about the behaviour, but I never thought of her being the actual doctor. So they're having the conversation then about where she grew up, because the image that flashes into her mind when it happens is a lighthouse, and the message was something like "follow the light, break the glass." That was wasn't it?
Yeah.
But that was a little bit of an interesting. And then we go back to Jack telling, I suppose his purpose for being in the episode, by telling the TARDIS gang, about a message
to beware
the lone Cyberman. Yeah, I thought I'd written more of his message there, but no.
I think the Cybermen are...
Is it the Mondasian Cybermen, though?
No.
Which Cybermen are they?
Yeah, there's so much Cybermen now.
And he's like, oh yeah, you haven't met the Cybermen yet.
Yeah, halfway that's going to be set up in the finale.
Could be, yeah.
The Cybermen are in Israel, so they are coming back this year.
And he's giving him this message, the nano genes are attacking him, but he can't die, but they're not going to undo that, are they?
No. Don't think they can't.
Yeah. So then, of course, we get to the scenes. I love the fact that they're driving around in an old Beetle. That's not really relevant, but I just thought it was a nice thing to include in there. Mm-hmm. But they're driving up, and she's talking about her memories, and the doctor's testing her and all that kind of thing, and they get there, and the voices. As soon as I heard the voices, I thought to myself, is she going to be the Rani? That's the first thing that popped into my head. Is she actually going to turn out to be the Rani? And then, she goes and she breaks the glass, but the doctor's digging outside, and we find there's a blank gravestone, and
See,
it sort of cuts back and forth between them.
See, when I saw the break last day, I was thinking, let's go with like the chameleon arch thing with the.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's the next bit where whenever this happens, then that's what's happened. She's been using the chameleon arch, and the Doctor finds that the TARDIS is actually what has been buried under there. But at this point, we don't know yet why that TARDIS is there. And then she comes out wearing a multicolored shirt, and she goes, "Oh, I'm the Doctor." And it was funny because we're so familiar with those scenes, she thinks that Jodie Whittaker's Doctor is going to be a companion and is confused, but she's just confused because she doesn't know anything about this, and she takes her hand and goes, "Oh, you're going to love this. You know, I travel in time space the way he would do to a future companion."
Because it was interesting because as the Doctor says, one of them would know the other because of the heptide, but they're not familiar with each other. So
it was kind of like, you know, in the scenes in like the 2 Doctors and 3 Doctors, except instead of knowing each other, they know nothing about each other. So it's the complete opposite.
And then I think I don't really. I think I glanced at a headline or something online last night. Boyard.
Oh yes, but I've seen that before, and you know, I don't like to speculate on things like that because there's no point at this point. But what I was going to say though, it was there were some really good scenes between them. You know, the usual bickering between different versions about the clothes and that kind of thing. And I have to say, I'm just a wee bit worried that they're going in a direction that I'm not too keen on. Yeah. Well, what I was going to say before we get into that was that I've written Dr. Ruth, not the, hello, I was Dr. Ruth, not the sex therapist Dr. Ruth, but that's a completely different episode.
That was like episode of Quantum Leap.
Oh yes, she was in that, but
Sam looked in there.
Yes, if you ever watched TV in the 80s and 90s, she was on TV all the time.
There's an episode of Quantum Leap where in one of Sam Beckett's leaps, he actually leaps in there.
That's right, I forgot about that.
And then the episode, she actually helps Al with his sex life in the waiting room.
Yeah,
it's quite funny.
But yeah, I was just going to say they're a bit suspicious of each other, because Jodie scans the other Doctor and confirms that they are the same person. But can the scans be trusted? Because she wasn't able to decrypt the cloaking. Anyway,
and also she has no memory of being this woman.
Yeah, so I liked the little scenes where she was saying, "I'm clever enough not to need a sonic screwdriver."
Yeah, because the sonic screwdriver was first with Patrick Troughton's Doctor.
Yes, that's right. And then basically John Pertwee kind of made it more usable.
Yeah, use it more often.
Yeah,
and then. Back in the 80s, John David Turner got rid of it in the Visitation because he thought it was too easy a way to get out. Whereas now it came back to the new series.
There was a sonic lance, wasn't there, which was a bit iffy.
Colin Baker had it for one episode.
Yeah, a bit iffy.
McCoy had his umbrella, he never had it.
But then, I just wanted to say, sorry, at this point then, the actress that's playing Ruth, Jo Martin, it was an amazing performance from her. Absolutely lifted the episode. Like, this is, I almost felt like she should be the Doctor at some point because she was so good. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought she was good at the performance.
Yeah, it was just, some people online were saying, she's better Doctor than Jodie, which I think is a bit unfair.
I think Jodie's getting better.
Yeah, I don't think that's a fair comment. But in the episode, she was, because you have to realise that she just got back her mojo, if you like, from being Ruth, and therefore was in the kick-ass mode. She's in a different situation dealing with these people. And then we had the bit where the GAC comes along and we have that confrontation. She doesn't want Jodie's Doctor to say that she's the Doctor, but she can't help herself. You know what the Doctor's like. Always has to be the big person in the situation, the big man or woman.
And the Doctor has to take charge.
Yeah, and she just couldn't let it go. And then we have those scenes where they do the mind meld again.
See, I always feel like it's too much of a rip of Star Trek when they do the mind meld thing. But I like the fact they use contact, because that goes back to the 3 Doctors.
Yes.
So I would like them to do contact.
Yes, but it was good because they didn't believe that she was who she said she was. Everyone was very suspicious of each other, and that we seem to find out that they're from the past, somewhere in the past. But I don't want to sort of jump into this whole thing where they shouldn't do this and they shouldn't do that in the story, because I want to find out, new things. But what I really guess what I want to say in this is that I do not want them to ruin what has gone before. By all means do something new, but to go back into the past and almost kind of say, oh well, you know what, actually she's been a woman all this time. They should move on from what has been happening. By all means, but to kind of
I'm really worried that they're going to do this whole arc about the Doctor had a cycle of regenerations prior to William Hartnell, and I feel like that's going to cheapen the Hartnell's legacy, because William Hartnell has been confirmed as the definitive first Doctor.
The first Doctor, so that is why it would be a bit of a shame if that's the way it was going. But that's not to say that I don't want them to do interesting things, and I'm not going to jump to conclusions. But this is something for the end of the series, where we'll have an episode where we'll review what has gone on, and we will, once we know the full facts of what's been happening, we'll then discuss it. But there's too many people out there knee-jerk reactions saying, oh, this is awful, this is terrible. They're projecting what they think is happening on top of what actually is happening.
I will admit, there is times where I think the woke culture is pushing the agenda side of it too far, and so therefore we're not. It's kind of dovetailing into the stories where I feel like it's kind of been shoehorned in rather than actually telling good stories.
Yes, although I will say in this particular case, I actually thought it worked well. I was really pleased. I think, like everything now, it's the fans, a lot of toxic fans, moan and whinge about this, that, and the other.
I may not be happy with if they do what I think they're going to do, but I'll still see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to play it by ear and see what goes on. But what I really mean is, as soon as the episode's over, you have people jumping on and saying this, that, and the other is happening, and I'll never watch it again and all that. It's like, give it a chance. What do you want? The same thing to happen all the time? It's better to be interesting. And what I will say is that that version of the Doctor that we got in that episode with Ruth, more of that will be amazing. I think we're going to see more from her later on in the series, so I look forward to that. The Doctor then at the end back in the TARDIS, and so then we get the guys back and like, hey, we met Jack. She said, what? But then she explains, they're like, what happened with Ruth? What happened? And she's like, Ruth was me, and I don't even know anything about it. That's basically what she was saying.
I would love Graham, Yaz, and Ryan to see one of the past Doctors.
Yes.
Say maybe even David Tennant or Matt Smith or
Capaldi even.
or I know they probably couldn't do it because of the age difference now, but even one of the classic era Doctors.
Well, they certainly could with the likes of Peter Davison.
Neil Bradley can come back as the first Doctor.
So yeah, she basically says towards the end, there's something coming for her. She says, time is swirling around me, and she mentions Jack and what else did she say? Jack and
the Master.
The Master, yes. She didn't mention the Judoon, but they were a blast from the past as well. And now the mention of the Cybermen. And she's like, something's coming for me, and then she gets a bit short with Ryan, and she's like,
were the Daleks mentioned?
Yes, she tried to explain to them what the Cybermen were, and she says, they're up there with the Daleks. I've lived for thousands of years. How long have you been here? And you're like, Yaz was like, don't talk to him like that, She was getting a bit
touchy.
Yeah.
Touchy.
Touchy. But having said that, what she was saying was, you don't really know me. You don't know me. But then they were like, we know who you are right now, so we're here for that, Doctor.
Doesn't matter about the past or the future.
Yes. We're here for this one, for you. And so they remind her, who she actually is. You're the Doctor, you're the woman who saved us, saved other people. And
sure, that was the whole story about Peter Capaldi's face being familiar. Because Peter Capaldi had been in Doctor before they did the story, but he took that form to remind himself that he used to help people.
Yes.
So it always makes me wonder, why did the Sixth Doctor take Commander Maxwell's face? Is this to remind himself to be a dick to people?
I think that was a mistake. Yes, indeed. I know.
That's what always came to mind whenever they did that thing. They explained Peter Capaldi being in Doctor before.
Yeah.
How did that explain Commander Maxwell's face for the Sixth Doctor?
just in case you didn't know, Colin Baker was already in Doctor Who in an episode or story. How many episodes was he in? Was it one, or was it the whole story?
He was in 3 parts of the Arc of Infinity. He was the Time Lord Security Chief Commander Maxwell.
Yes, and we'll find an image to show you. But so what I was going to say there though was that the thing was that sort of Graham was saying at the end, oh, you know, your mates, you're more than mates, your family. And it was that kind of happy ending, and then they happen to get interrupted with some more stuff going on. The Doctor kind of says the TARDIS goes off, you see, and she's like, "Oh, you're siding with them on this," which is a nice moment.
Yeah.
And then it sort of ends with, you know, you're the Doctor, that's the message, and off we go into the next story.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I was blown away by that episode. Regardless of what happens with the story, I loved it. I thought it was great. I loved that performance. I think I would love, no matter what happens, I would at least love some audio adventures with that Doctor.
Well, I'm sure big fans will oblige, they always do.
Yeah, it's such an amazing one. You kind of think to yourself, well, if she regenerated into the Ruth Doctor, I would not complain.
Yeah.
You know, I really wouldn't, because that's the kind of Doctor, funnily enough, I was thinking of when I was thinking of female Doctor. You know, which we didn't get, to be fair, whenever Jodie became the Doctor, but that's not to criticise her.
You think it would be Joanna Lumley type?
Not even Joanna Lumley, but I know what you mean, yeah.
I think for years I always thought the Doctor would be like a Joanna Lumley, kind of Helen Mirren type, you know, kind of woman.
Well, when Joanna Lumley was the Doctor in the Comic Relief,
yeah,
she was a sexy Doctor, wasn't she?
Yeah.
You know, she wasn't crotchety.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, but
I just think the old school mistress look. Whenever I originally saw a female Doctor.
Well, the other version of the Doctor had glasses as well, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah.
You know, she put them on when she was in there, and sort of classic style internal TARDIS, you know, with a bit of a twist. Mm-hmm. So, but the only thing is that what I would say about it is, you know, I don't want to just, because I went online afterwards and people were always whinging and moaning about this, that, and the other, and you know.
I was happy with Picard also, which I actually liked.
Yeah.
Because I think they're completely, it's the wrong uniform, it's I think it's a dream sequence, just go with it.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at really is people who go on there and it's not, the episode wasn't what they wanted in it, therefore it was all wrong. It's like, no, just let the creative people do what they want to do and follow along with it. And of course, yes, you can give your opinion on it, but too many people think, oh, if it's not exactly the way I want it, it mustn't be made, it must be stopped. Just think, that's really boring. Well, there's boring.
There's certain things the classic era Doctor Who did that I wasn't too keen on.
Yeah.
Sure. In the McCoy era, you know what became known as the Cartmel Master Plan. They were kind of implying, you know, that they're trying to be more mystery into the Doctor about, you know, he's more than just another Time Lord, and there was a thing where he actually was there with Rassilon and Omega.
Yes.
You know, I think
they're going to touch upon that kind of lore, you know, in this story, but
I think it's a case of they're trying to bring. I'm all for more mystery being brought into the Doctor, because sometimes that's within the classic series, and also I know that prior to the 13 regenerations, the 12 regeneration limit, Brain and Morbius implied the Doctor had many faces before Hartnell. You know, so it's not, you know, infeasible. There was no regenerations, but I just don't think. I think it should be a mixture of male and female. It shouldn't all be, you know, because I think that's...
I suppose I know what you mean, because that's what I was getting to, where, you know, it has to be one or the other. One's better than the other. You know, it's a guy's better than a girl, or a girl's better than a guy. It shouldn't necessarily be that way. It should just be the characters, you know.
But a long time since then, they've clearly established the Hartnell's Doctor as the original...
Yes.
That when you see flashbacks of the Doctor as a kid, where I've always assumed that that's Hartnell.
Yeah. It's just a bit of a stretch, really. You know, it's going to be almost like a full reboot then if you do that.
There's a slight retcon. I do think there's a slight retcon happening.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I'll keep open-minded until for the whole season anyway.
Yeah, indeed. Well, that's all. That's really it that we have to head on. But we just, you know, we put a little sort of live Twitter video. It was the wrong way around, because I had the phone the right way around, which is landscape, but they want you to film it portrait, which is the wrong way.
Yeah, that's not how you film. That's not how you should film.
That's how you should film. No.
That's not how you should film.
No. In fact, a few years ago, out of curiosity, they were looking for members of the public to audition to be Top Gear presenters. And one of the things they said in it was if your phone was filmed portrait, it doesn't get seen.
So now apparently,
But now with the likes of TikTok and that sort of thing, it's perfectly acceptable to film your phone the wrong way around. But I don't like it. No. But remember, of course, you can go onto our website and watch all the stuff that we've done, and join us again next time. Really, who knows where we'll be then, because we've changed this location several times to get to this point today.
And I think what we're going to be doing right now is going home to see if our season 26 box sets have arrived.
Yes, because we pre-ordered those, and we're going to have an ace time watching them.
Sometimes the old 7th Doctor.
Yeah. And when are we getting The Adventures of Ace? Because that would be...
there's a new book coming out now called, which Sylvie Alder has written, where Ace meets the 13th Doctor.
Right,
so
okay.
That could be an interesting read.
Yeah, definitely. But for the moment, though, you do the usual stuff. You know what to do, we don't need to tell you anymore. And that's it from us. Bye.
Bye.
Dum